This is a dramatic reading of Blog on Weekly Blogging, a blog by the Stand-Up Physicist, available at science2.0.com. To celebrate a half year of effort, this is a blog on weekly blogging. 3 tangibles are created in this process: the Science 2.0 blog, a YouTube video blog, and a chapter in a book of blogs which is actually still under development. I will go through my technical suite used in producing these 3 different outputs. The 20 to 25 hours per week that I put into this effort will be broken down. And some data on the level of interest generated by this media production will be revealed. And finally, the rewards of this work will be reviewed. The most important thing to maintaining production of a weekly blog, trumping all others, is having a topic to ramble about. Now, there's a simple test. Would talking about this subject to a significant other lead to significant problems? Well, I know how to keep physics discussions under 2 minutes with my wife. She does enjoy going to Lillians, a superb French restaurant in my suburban town, to celebrate physics results, like using hypercomplex numbers to resolve the spin-2 current coupling issue, which I can't talk about too much with her. Now, our next tentatively scheduled visit hinges on not seeing the Higgs boson in the vast sea of bottom-antibottom possibilities between 120 and 145 GeV. This is a personal research blog. I may run out of ideas worth sharing. It is not like a blog about the National Football League with its predictable ebb and flow of the season. I had to rummage through my own mind, dust off some ideas, make sure they still make sense. So it's good that I've stored away 14 years of such meanderings with quaternions. So, well, at least that equaled a half year of output. Now, the technology used to produce the blogs, video, and future books all have one guiding theme: speed. Fast is the most important quality in any technical choice. Most of the work is done on a Mac Mini, which cost me like $1,300. I do have a Linux box that produces the quaternion animations, but several key video tools are Mac only. That's why I chose that operating system. So here are the blog tools, what I use in rough order. The first is the website gqs.com, cost me $25 a year. It is a fast web-based outliner. It is essential to order the subjects in a blog in a rational way, even if that's not the order in which they come out of my brain. Rearranging is quick. When on an item, I type a number where it belongs, and boom, goes right there. There are also single letter shortcuts for most operations, like I for add another item to this list, or S, make this a subtask of this particular item. I also use a clipboard and post-it notes. Wow, high tech, huh? Cost me, what, $1 or something? The first draft is written out longhand on a clipboard, often at jam time, a gym that my daughter goes to. I keep a single page output of the outline in hand as my guide. The post-its are generated as they happen, mornings in particular. Drafts are tossed away since, just take too much effort to figure out where to file them. Google Docs, which is free, is also a vital tool. The fear of the first line is avoided by always using the same format. This is a dramatic reading of the blog on Weekly Blogging, a blog by the Stand-Up Physicist, available at science2.0.com. So the drafts are published on the web, and maybe if you're really good at search, you can find them. Text-to-speech, another tool, and that's free on both Mac and Linux. They can, get you to get that robo speech thing going. I bet there's an app for that, and probably a website. It just helps me to hear errors that need to be addressed, and I do that 2 to 6 times per blog. Text-to-speech is also free. Oh, this text-to-speech is where I just read it aloud. Since that actually uses a different part of the brain, I find different flaws, particularly awkwardly written sentences. Because if you got to say it, then you go, blah, blah, blah. Let me put that clause over here. Actually, it's usually, why don't I delete that clause kind of thing. Let me simplify the message. Let's get to the point already. No, I'm rambling on. Okay, you get the point. Ears hear things differently when you say it. So I have skipped that step about a third of the time, depending on how late things are going. So technical doodles are another thing I do, and that costs about, I don't know, $20 for a little art kit. And it's something that I really should do more. Simple figures with a technical message. You just outline that in a pencil and use actually an eraser almost as much as you use a pencil, with a 5H sort of lead, which are easy to to get rid of completely with that eraser. And then you ink that up, or maybe go with a B pencil. And if color would add to the message, I've got pastels, pencils, markers, crayons, whichever makes the most visual sense. Then I've got a digital camera. Which one, kind of doesn't matter, because it's going to be reduced for the web to like 200 to 600 pixels, so it really doesn't matter. Actually, I do keep a second copy at high resolution for the book, but really almost any kind of digital camera will be fine. Lexit is a program for the Mac that I paid $25 for. Actually, it's free. It's just that the guy in France really deserves a donation for such nice work. The latex from the blog that goes into the blog gets tested and tweaked in that program, and the resulting equation is then stored in a library folder, and that I can usually find pretty quickly for if I need to reuse it. And an EPS file is exported, which is critical for use in the book. So the end result of those collections of technology is a blog with the text and the pictures available, usually early in the AM hours of a Tuesday. The video blogging process happens after the Science 2.0 blog has been released. So I released it that Monday evening. This is now Tuesday, okay? One thing I do is use cheap props. You see, I used to actually spend literally a month making these props for the Stand-Up Physicist show, which actually only showed on the Auburn Community TV station, which is an incredibly obscure outlet. It's a suburb of a medium-sized town in the state of Massachusetts. I mean, I've never even lived in the town. It's just that I knew the guy who ran the station there. And he said, I need content. I said, oh, I got content for you. Yeah, community access TV is a funny world, as Wayne's World made fun of, but it really is odd. Very hard to really reach the nation that way. And I basically then digitized it and sent it off to YouTube, so that it could be seen by thousands over the world. And now all I do is usually write on a napkin and wave it in front of the camera, or wave a book. That's the kind of thing. So I've gotten away from those props. I also have a 28-inch monitor and wall mount, which you can't see. It's right over there. Okay, that's my teleprompter. That's what I'm reading. I'm reading through the camera, all right, to see that And I'm actually, my hand's over here, okay? I don't want to hide anything. I'm actually using this to page. Oh, there, the text is moving. Do you see that? No, you don't. Okay, so I pull it out of the wall, and then I make the text huge, you know, like it was really old or something. No, it's just really far away. And I just read off of that. That's all there is to my teleprompter. I've got a fluorescent light kit. It only costs like 170 bucks. I mean, I used to have, actually, this is part of my my light kit, my halogen light kit. But these suckers run really hot. And as a matter of fact, I burned my pipe back there because it was so hot and I didn't notice it was up against the insulation. These guys are much cooler, but you can sometimes, if I turn my head the right way, you can see the light bulbs, these 4 little light bulbs, fluorescent ones. That's because I was too cheap to buy what's called a light box, which puts a diffuser over that sort of thing. But I think it's good enough for this, which is just, you know, me standing here talking to my camera. So then we've got the camera itself, Panasonic HDC SD1. I do actually have a higher quality video camera, but that uses tape, and that requires more effort to download to the computer. And I chose this particular camera out of a crowded field because it has the best microphones. A bad soundtrack really means a bad video. To do the post-production work, which means putting all this stuff together, I use iMovie. I do own Final Cut Pro, the suite. I bought it when it was really expensive, like $1,200. It's fallen in price down to $300. But I haven't gone that way because I found that making the video is faster with iMovie, all told. So, you know, there's just less options, less thinking, and, you know, it's good enough for this kind of thing, which is just chatting in front of a camera. I also use Motion. That costs like 50 bucks, and it is Mac only, to put together the title and the credits. I actually only changed the title part, which takes all of 5 minutes. And then YouTube, of course, that serves up all these videos, although I am now monetizing everything. So sorry about those little ads there, but I've got to feed the family, or hope that someday it's more than $2 a month. So, you know, the video itself is just a merger of the title sequence, the body of the talk, plus the credits. And if I stumble, I put my hand up in front of the camera and go, as a signal that there's a botch there, and I have to simply cut that out, and then I had to add things like images and videos and maybe a sound effect or two as needed. The book is the last output from this blogging effort. The drive for that only started within like the last month. I knew that LaTeX could be used to make a professional looking book with a table of contents, footnote, and index, you know, and getting all the page numbers right. But the resulting documents were often visually dull, a stream of words, since that's actually what most technical papers are, which was kind of the reason kind of behind LaTeX. Now, there was a LaTeX, I heard about this LaTeX format inspired by Edward Tufte, the big man in information design. And I really recommend reading this kind of book. And he has a whole like 3 or 4 of these types of books. I've enjoyed immensely each one, and they've got all kinds of figures and graphs and pictures, and it's interesting to read. It's fun to look at, and so I said, wow, if somebody was using him as a guide, that would be a pretty cool thing, and maybe my blogs would not look dull, which was my hope. So for the software about the book. The first was that I use is called Licks. It's free. It works on Macs, Microsoft, and Linux. The current version is 2.0, and it knows about the Tufte book style. And that style allows for both margin comments and figures. And the indexing is also like totally professional, allowing for sub-indexing and making a reference reference to a section of a topic like show up in a bold letter. You know, when you sometimes see the bold letter in the index, it knows how to do that too. So very powerful kind of stuff. And then GitHub.com is free as long as it's public. And as I come up with chapters of this draft book and the accompanying software, I'm going to store it there. I wrote a program in Perl to merge the chapters. Because a chapter stays digestible size of like 6 to 10 pages. Well, the book, you know, continues to grow, like too big to deal with efficiently. So my software just finds all these .licks chapter files and removes the header and footer and creates one big book of blogs .licks file. And I'm putting up notes about the technical details because, you know, for those who actually want to investigate the possibilities for their own work. And blurb.com can actually produce these books. Costs about $60 for a 250-page color soft cover book. They're going to be my printer. They've already printed 2 of my books. One is called Being L. Okay, is that cute? Oh, I guess it. And this is, as we say, let's see, what would be good? There. Oh, Dad, and the little one. Full color bleeds, as we say. And you know, man, I flipped through this and I choke up because she is so cute. Okay, all right. I don't want to get too teary-eyed. And you know, it's one of those things. You know, she's so much older. She's so much bigger, so much more mobile, but she's so much the same person. You know, even back then you go, yeah, that's so cool. All right, other book. A young man watches a young war. Okay, so I've got these old journals, you know, where you used to write stuff over and over and over from Granddad, and I pick up this one, and let me see if we can get the the original right there. Let's see really close. See there, Paris, October 1. Okay, we're talking this guy goes to Paris, October 1, 1914. Do I come from crazy genetic stock or what? I mean, Jesus, what a time to go to Paris. I love Paris, believe me. I totally love it. During war, not so much. And what does he do? What does he do? He gets on a bike and he goes north into like Belgium. Hold it. The Germans over there were figuring out how to wage World War I. He survived this, okay? But this is like just 2 days of his journal entry and kind of a big kick to read. So anyway, and both books, by the way, are completely free to flip through in their entirety. All right. Now, why don't we get into my blogging time? So blogging just does take time. I estimate it takes, you know, 20 to 25 hours per week. And I work on this late, you know, starting at 9 p.m. and going to 1 to 3 a.m. Lunchtime can be blogging time, but it doesn't have to be. And so here's a visual representation of the timeline. So you can see Monday is crunch time in big red, and you know, if I had to stay up to 3, which is really brutal actually, I do so. Hopefully not. 2 is okay. but it's Science 2.0 and the Google Docs and a bit of LaTeX. Tuesday, like today, it's let's do the video, let's record it. And then Wednesday, Thursday is post-production iMovies kind of stuff, maybe a bit of the book. Certainly Thursday, I hope I can upload it, the final thing to iMovie. Friday, I start getting serious about the outlines and really got to finish it by Saturday, I feel, because by then I want to start writing my first paragraphs of the blog. And come Sunday, I'm actually trying to push up when I start doodling and drawing for the blog, but that's kind of the flow. So what about the feedback? You know, do people love it? Well, actually, let's start with the null feedback, the sound of silence. There have been 0 sales of this No Stinking Higgs t-shirt since my blogging started. Well, I should say there were sales before this particular push is concerned, and I have a colleague who is having some success pitching the t-shirts on a personal one-on-one sales kind of environment at a Radio Shack. You know, that's, as I like to say, that's just an observation. The Google Plus Hangouts that I've been doing have led to all of one discussion. Now, that discussion was a pretty good one, so I probably will keep that channel open for the time being. No one who is tenure track or above that sort of thing has contacted me about this body of work at this time. Those are just the observation. Now, the number of views I get on Science 2.0 swamp those on YouTube by approximately like an order of magnitude. The market response of these two channels is why doing work on the blog takes precedence over this video blog, okay? I mean, I also expect any book that I actually produce out of this process to sell like 10 copies or less, because I haven't sold either one of these other than to myself. And I thought it was a great expense, okay? You know, it's the lesson that 0 marketing dollars leads to 0 sales. So I have all the numbers for Science 2.0 and the YouTube views. If you want to see that table, it's a table of information. Go to Science 2.0, look it up. But the key thing, I think, is that Science 2.0 is running like usually around 1,000 views. As high as one has gotten close to 5,000 views, and that's why quantum mechanics is weird. And really, you know, the YouTube is basically an order of magnitude smaller. In the case of the why is quantum mechanics weird, we're up to 603 views. You know, okay. So that's the numbers. So quantum mechanics is number 1. That has been seemed the topic that generates the most interest. The forever question mark elusive Higgs is a hot subject. Definitely got more views because of that. The blogs that have the word sex sell well. Okay. The snarky puzzle answers series, well, that is really explicitly technical, and it ends up being some of my lower draw videos that I do. But I'm absolutely committed to that particular thing, because I think that shows that this isn't just a one-hit wonder. A lot of very different kinds of questions can be answered with the quaternion hypercomplex accounting system in place, instead of using no, I shouldn't say instead of using tensors, because those both are tensors. It's kind of like having a different ways to multiply those tensors together. That's really great. So what are the rewards of all this work? Well, it ain't the money. I'm pulling in $2 per month from both Science 2.0 and YouTube. Okay, So Science 2.0 is, I think, being a little bit more generous. So although my videos channel has passed the 200,000 download mark, I've yet to see my first Ben Franklin from Google. I mean, that's their low limit for payout. You got to pull in $100 before they send you anything. So I estimate my pay rate at about $0.10 an hour. Now, as far as the IRS is concerned, Universal Gem Productions is a Schedule C business that consistently loses money, even though you're selling T-shirts and DVDs and whatnot. The rewards for my research have been superlative. Now, one is the smaller than the standard model. It looks just like that, okay? So making an intellectual structure more compact is just almost impossible. It is an alternative to the big mansion groups, SU5, SU10, and the monster group E8. That is like the U1, instead of these being tensor products, these three symmetries, I'm saying U1 is a subgroup of SU2, is a subgroup of SU3, and that is actually maybe all you need to say within a Lagrangian. I don't think it's been all fleshed out. Well, it definitely hasn't been all fleshed out, but it's just cool that I come up with a possibility that is smaller and somewhat reasonable because it certainly has all three symmetries. The two flavors of the equivalence principle used to be vague in my mind. I can now see the weak equivalence principle, which is that the inertial mass always exactly cancels out the gravitational mass, as being this gauge cancellation that between the quaternion and hypercomplex field strength tensor. Now, the strong equivalence principle, that a dynamic metric is the complete story and any additional fields ruin the pudding, well, it looks to me like the duality I have between a metric and a four-potential solution. The games with the quaternion triple products have been like really intricate. And I accept that, you know, they're never going to quite be the gamma matrices, leaving open the door that maybe they're behaving a little better. Well, in particular, a technical connection to fermions is the bridge that, you know, I've got to build it, or somebody's got to build it before hordes of theoretical physicists will drive down this road, if that bridge can be built at all. But the biggest reward out of this video blog push is one that I really can't know about, and that is the kind of the social network effects. Okay, so I mean, I had a long riff on what could possibly happen, you know, all kinds of scenarios, and then I reread the draft and I just said, you know, this is BS. You know, the bottom line is this, that, you know, come 2012, which is not that far away, you know, we might be sitting here with like no Higgs and no supersymmetric particles within sight. And if that's the case, then, you know, we might find a cell or two of physicists who go and they start looking at what I've written on napkins, and they see if they can go from the Lagrangian to the field equations, to the solutions, to the testable predictions, you know? And, you know, after that, I mean, who knows how it would spin out. But that's what I think might happen, is there'll be so much pressure if there is no Higgs found or any super partners, that somebody will actually start working with it. And you start working with it and go, what is wrong with this? There should be something wrong with this. It shouldn't be that sophisticated. And we'll see. But the blogging is the outreach to all kinds of people I don't know about, And, you know, when somebody laments, oh man, this is so bad, but then somebody says, well, there was this guy on the internet. Okay, but until then, you know, I've got work to do no matter what day of the week it is. All right, so here's my snarky puzzle. Go to a reference library. No, wait, don't bother. Sit down in front of a computer, like you are right now. Open up another tab in your browser, okay? Now go to wolframalpha.com, which is, if you're not familiar, a number crunching web search amazing tool, all right? Now what I wanted you to do is type in the following, in parentheses, age of the universe, / in other words, divided by Planck time. Planck time is a unit of time that's built out of fundamental constants. So you end up with a dimensionless number, okay? And it's a big one, okay? Save a tree. Commit it to memory. All right? I think I know exactly what it is. Yes, I do. Okay, now type in something different. Radius of the observable universe / divided by Planck length. All right? And then notice the ratio between those two numbers, and that should be easy enough to figure out why that is so. Then skeptically ask mass of the universe / Planck mass. You know, ramble about whether you think that number should be bigger or smaller than the other ones that you calculated. So, welcome to the wonderful world of dimensionless Planck units. All right, thank you.